You smell the suffocating stench of burning pine and melting fat before you even open your eyes. You are kneeling on the freezing cobblestones of a town square, listening to a priest chant a Latin prayer while a man burns alive at the stake for the exact same thing you did last night. And the holy man holding the torch? He is the warlord you did it with. Welcome to being gay in the Middle Ages. Forget the sanitized Hollywood fairy tales. There are no chivalrous knights or romantic quests here. You have just spawned into a filthy, hyper-paranoid surveillance state where your bedroom preferences aren't an identity. They are a literal capital offense. It is the 13th century. You are an exceptionally attractive 19-year-old squire. In a feudal society completely populated by unwashed peasants missing half their teeth, your flawless jawline doesn't make you lucky. It makes you a highly valuable, incredibly dangerous piece of public property. The church controls absolutely everything. They control the laws, they control the taxes, and they control the exact temperature of the fire you will be thrown into if anyone even suspects you have the unmentionable vice. If you get caught, you don't get canceled. You get strapped to a wooden pole and turned into human ash before lunch. So you think the safest play is to keep your head down, clean the horses, and never act on your desires? Absolutely not. In the brutal medieval ecosystem, an unclaimed pretty boy is free real estate. If you don't secure a powerful monster to protect you immediately, the local Baron's guards will drag you into a dungeon and test your boundaries for sport. You are forced into a terrifying, high-stakes audition just to keep a roof over your head. Your target is the Duke. He is a massive 300-pound walking tank who solves diplomatic disputes by launching livestock over castle walls. You approach him in the muddy training yard and hand him his heavy chainmail. He doesn't thank you. He stares dead at your waistline, runs a tongue over his unwashed teeth, and slides the heavy iron key to his private bedchamber, directly into your palm. Congratulations. You just signed a completely non-consensual medieval prenup. But here is the absolute mind-bending psychological twist that makes your new domestic reality so uniquely horrifying. You actually need him. Being claimed by a terrifying, untouchable oligarch is the absolute only thing stopping the Inquisition from dragging you out of your bed by your hair. He isn't just your abuser. He is your employer, your landlord, your literal fire insurance. Rejecting him wouldn't just mean getting fired. A casual whisper from the Duke to the local bishop that you have demonic urges would trigger an irreversible religious execution. That terrifying warlord is the only thing keeping your lungs inflating. So when the castle gates lock and the heavy oak doors of his private chamber bolt shut, the rent for your survival is violently collected. Negotiation is a myth. Genuine consent is a luxury you simply cannot afford. You must perform your duties in the suffocating dark with unquestioning compliance. You are basically a medieval blow-up doll with a survival instinct. If you lay there like a dead fish, he takes it as a direct insult to his masculinity, and injuring a duke's ego in a stone room with 0 witnesses results in a savage, career-ending accident during tomorrow's jousting tournament. But there is a sick, completely deranged catch to your performance in the dark. If you show too much desire, if you move too eagerly, his religious paranoia violently spikes. He might actually convince himself you are a literal succubus sent by Satan to tempt his holy soul. You are forced to walk a terrifying psychological tightrope. You bite your lip to muffle the sound of your own panicked breathing. You follow his crude instructions exactly. You let this scarred warlord use your body in ways that shatter every boundary you possess. Dissociation takes over. Your consciousness leaves the castle and floats out over the freezing moat. Your mind turns into a compliant, hypersexualized ghost, paying physical taxes to a sociopath just to survive the night. And then the physical act ends. The tallow candles flicker in the drafty room, and the dynamic violently flips. A heavy, sweat-slicked arm pulls your head against a hairy, battle-scarred chest. Calloused fingers pet your hair. For 2 straight hours, the hardened warlord whispers in the dark. He cries hysterically because he thinks God is going to punish him for eating cheese during Lent. He sobs quietly into the wool blankets because the king didn't compliment his new velvet cape at the royal banquet. The dominant monster who just violated every boundary you possessed is now a wounded, clingy, emotional wreck demanding to be held, and your arms wrap around him. Because they have to. You must provide deeply emotional, domestic intimacy to a fragile ego. It is a non-consensual therapy session, and the clinic is a freezing bed in a heavily guarded fortress. When you aren't trapped in his bedchamber, your life becomes an exhausting performance piece. The next morning, you attend Mass with him. You kneel on the hard stone floor, holding his helmet, while the priest delivers a screaming sermon about the fires of hell waiting for sodomites. You have to keep your face perfectly blank, while the man who just used your body a few hours ago nods solemnly and drops a gold coin into the collection plate. The hypocrisy is so thick you could choke on it. But you aren't the only one who knows. The castle is a paranoid surveillance state. The chambermaids washing the stained sheets know. The guards standing outside the heavy oak doors know. You are a walking 13th century PR disaster. And then comes the ultimate psychological torture: confession. Once a week, you are forced to kneel in a tiny, suffocating wooden box, inches away from the exact same priest who could have you burned alive. You have to invent fake minor sins just to sound convincing. You stare at the wooden lattice, sweating completely through your tunic, confessing that you stole a piece of bread or used a curse word. You are utterly terrified that if you pause for too long, the priest will hear the actual treasonous truth pounding in your chest. To keep them quiet, you are forced into a high-stakes extortion loop. You secretly slip stolen silver goblets to the head cook. You give up half your food rations to the stable boy just so he doesn't whisper a rumor to a traveling monk. You are constantly one missed bribe away from the torture rack. Years go by. You master the art of total submission. But physical beauty has a brutal expiration date. By the time you hit 24, you are basically a medieval antique. The smooth skin that bought your protection starts to fade. You stare blankly into a polished silver tray, tracing the faint, terrifying lines forming slowly around your exhausted, sunken eyes. The Duke doesn't formally break up with you. He can't just let you leave the castle. You know all his treasonous, heretical secrets. He has to neutralize you. He has to lock you permanently into his family structure, so you can never testify against him. So, he forces you to get married to his deeply unpleasant, wildly religious female cousin. The man who shattered your youth now forces you to stand at an altar in front of the entire court and pledge your eternal soul to a woman you have absolutely zero attraction to. You are pushed into an entirely new psychological meat grinder. Now, you have to perform as a rugged, straight nobleman. You have to produce heirs. You have to aggressively overcompensate your masculinity by drinking heavily and screaming at the servants. You spend hours sitting at the head of a massive wooden banquet table, aggressively carving a roasted boar just to prove how manly you are. Your wildly religious wife sits next to you, complaining loudly about the degenerates ruining the village. You have to look her dead in the eye, nod solemnly, and agree that the sinners must be purged, knowing full well you are the biggest sinner in the entire room. The sheer psychological weight of living a 24/7 lie makes you feel like your brain is slowly bleeding out through your ears. You spend your days trapped in a loveless sham marriage, praying your new wife doesn't realize you have to dissociate just to look at her collarbone. But the trap isn't finished snapping shut, because the Duke still wants you. Your marriage was just a corporate restructuring of your trauma. Instead of sneaking into his bedchamber as a squire, you were forced to accompany him on extended hunting trips deep into the woods. You are a married adult man, shivering in a canvas tent in the middle of a freezing forest, still paying your physical rent to a man who owns your entire existence. And then, one morning, the Duke introduces his brand new squire to the court. He is 16. He is exceptionally attractive. He looks exactly like you did 8 years ago. The Duke casually tells you that it is your job to train the boy. You are forced to stand there and watch as the cycle of trauma resets itself in real time. You see the terrified look in the boy's eyes, the exact same look you had. You want to scream. You want to tell him to run out of the castle, into the woods, and never look back. But the survival instinct ingrained in you is too strong. You are completely paralyzed by the twisted machine you helped build. You have to show him how to polish the broadsword. You have to show him exactly how the Duke likes his boots laced. You have to look this terrified, beautiful teenager in the eyes and hand him over to the exact same monster that destroyed your own soul. You sit in the great hall. You watch the heavy oak doors of the Duke's bedchamber click shut with the new boy inside. Your wife asks you why you are staring at the door. You grip your wooden wine goblet so hard your knuckles turn white. You force a smile. You tell her it is nothing. You survive it. You endure it. But you never, ever escape it.